We were never supposed to stay that long. I was a radio operator with the 2nd Battalion, Parachute Regiment, dropped into Holland in September 1944 for Operation Market Garden. The job on paper was simple. Grab the Arnhem Bridge, hold it until the tanks arrive, then push into Germany. They said it would be fast. We dropped in daylight. Parachutes dotting blue sky. Dutch civilians waving from the fields. It felt wrong how peaceful it looked. On the way toward town, locals handed us apples, water, and bad news in broken English. Germans, many Germans. Tigers, one old man warned, miming a big gun. We smiled it off. British airborne, stiff upper lip, all that. By the time our forward elements reached the bridge, the parade was over. There were more Germans in the area than anyone had briefed us about in better ones. But we still got to the northern end and dug in around a row of townhouses and offices overlooking the approach. I set up my wireless in the back room of an office that still had ledgers on the desk. We swept them aside and laid out maps and cables instead. Major Frost moved through the rooms, calm but tight-eyed, as reports came in about mounting resistance behind us. Night was probing patrols, small arms, a few grenades. We threw them back. The bridge stayed ours. The second day, they tried to take it properly. Artillery first, walking through the town, turning nice brick facades into open wounds. We hugged interior walls while plaster rained down. Then came the armor half-tracks and tanks grinding up the streets from the town center. You know a tank by sound. That deep, clanking growl got into your bones. From an upstairs window, you could see the intersection leading onto the bridge. A German half-track rolled into view and a Piat team nailed it from a side street. It smoked and stopped, men tumbling off under our fire. Then the tank behind it started pounding buildings, blowing whole rooms apart. While that was happening, I sat on the floor by my headset on, sending messages in clip bursts. Bridge still held stop, enemy armor probing stop, casualties heavy stop. No armor relief in sight stop. Replies were thin and grim. Hold, as long as you can. Armor delayed. That word landed worse than any shell. Around midday, a round hit the building. The wall next door simply vanished. The blast knocked my radio off the table. Antenna ripped loose. Valves shattered. For a minute, all I heard was ringing and falling masonry. The sergeant ducked into the room. "Radio?" he shouted. "Broken but not dead," I said. "Same as us." I tore into the set, swapped a valve, stripped and twisted cable, shortened the antenna, hand shaking while the house shook with each tank round. When I threw the switch, I half expected a puff of smoke. Instead, I got static, then a voice. "Any units at Arnhem Bridge, report Sitrep, over." I almost laughed. "Bridge still held," I answered. "Under heavy attack. Tanks and infantry. Ammo low. We're not going anywhere. Over." "Understood. Hold if you can. We're doing everything possible to reach you." We held. All that day into the night, then into the next. Our world shrank to a few ruined streets around the northern ramp. We moved room to room, house to house, trading floors and windows for time. PIATs from basements, rifles from attics, snipers in roof spaces. They blasted, we shifted deeper and kept firing. Radio traffic got worse, jammed, broken, our batteries dying. At one point, in the early hours, I got a final clear message. Arnhem Bridge elements be advised, relief armor heavily delayed, stop. Hold if possible, break out if not stop, situation fluid, stop. Fluid means we're on our own, one of the lads said. By the third day, we were nearly spent. Ammo almost gone, food gone, water low. Most of the buildings we'd started in were burned out shells. We still had one working radio mine. My last real message was short. Bridge position surrounded, stop. Strength greatly reduced, stop. Many wounded, stop. Will hold until overrun, stop. No reply. Or maybe there was, and the next barrage drowned it out. They hit us with everything, tanks at close range, infantry, More shells. Our lines broke in places. Germans pushed into buildings we'd sworn we'd hold. We fell back through back gardens and stairwells, dragging wounded when we could, leaving them with morphine when we couldn't. At the end, I found myself in a half-collapsed back room with the radio, a corporal with a Sten, and a revolver that felt ornamental. "You planning to shoot tanks with that?" I asked him. "Just the blokes climbing off them," he said. The major crawled in, dust-streaked, eyes red. "Ammunition's nearly done," he said quietly. "We've done enough. When they come, no pointless heroics. We've proved what we needed to." He looked at my set. "Get one more off if you can." I keyed the mic with hands that wouldn't stay still. Bridge position lost in all but name stop. Surrounded stop. Unable to maintain effective resistance stop. We held as long as we could stop. A few seconds of static, then the set fizzled, lights dimming out. That was it. Our last radio died in my hands. The Germans came room by room. Some of our lads kept firing until they literally had nothing left. Others lay on floors, too wounded to move. Eventually, we crawled out or were pulled out, hands up, ears ringing, smoke in our clothes. I walked out without my radio for the first time in days. Just empty straps on my shoulders and brick dust in my hair. On paper, we failed. We didn't hold the bridge. The tanks never reached us in time. Years later, I came back as a tourist. Clean streets, new buildings, a different bridge. A Dutchman who'd been a boy then said, "You were there longer than anyone thought you could be. Long enough to change things." People talk about Arnhem with big phrases. A bridge too far. Strategic failure. Bad planning. For me, it's that smashed row of houses at the north end, one battered radio on a cracked table. The sound of tanks in the street, and a handful of men staying on the line just long enough to keep saying, "We're still here," until we couldn't say anything at all.